College track and field, at its highest levels, is basically professional track and field. Not only are the performances at the NCAA championships world class, but many talented athletes like Marvin Bracey, Trayvon Bromell, and Michael Norman went on to become Olympians, but first showcased that talent at the NCAA level. Winning national championships is already hard enough, but if you can win more than one and break collegiate records when you do it, you can put yourself in the conversation for the greatest collegiate track athlete of all time. So who really deserves to be the GOAT of college track and field? Well, I'm sorry to tell you, we may never know the answer to that question, but we can definitely figure out who is the greatest athlete we've seen in the past 15 years. Cause in 2009, the Bowerman Award was created to become the Heisman Trophy for track and field. And I compared that list of champions from their individual performances, both at the conference level and the NCAA level, in order to determine which one is really the greatest track and field athlete of this generation. To have a chance to get on this list, the criteria is simple. You have to win the Bowerman Award for outdoor track and field in Division I. The athletes are ranked with as little bias as possible, with points awarded for every conference championship medal that they won, and double the points for the medals they won at the NCAA level. Relays only factor in if you win them at the NCAA level, and if you break a collegiate record, that will count just as much as winning a national championship. But remember, if an athlete leaves college early, that also brings an end to their college resume, no matter how great they actually are. Starting off with athlete number 10 is Deon Lendore of Texas A&M. Rest in peace. While competing for the Aggies, he swept the NCAA 400, both indoors and outdoors as a junior. Needless to say, he won a bunch of medals at the SEC championships and was a force to be reckoned with on both the 4x1 and 4x4 relays. He was actually an Olympian for Trinidad and Tobago and chose to return back to college after 2012. But he underachieved as a senior, failing to win any NCAA championship medals. I remember meeting him at the Armory Track and Field Center in New York City way back when I was in college, because we were both training for our indoor campaigns. But the truth is that he was always on another level, and now he will go down as one of the greats. Coming in at number 9 is Ngonidzashe Makusha of Florida State. He was a long jumper and 100-meter runner who also was an Olympian for Zimbabwe. Before coming to college, he dominated the long jump, winning several NCAA titles, but he actually broke a collegiate record, not in that event, but in the 100, running 9:89. That was the one and only year that he ran in the NCAA championship final, in the 100, but he made it count. And on top of all that, he won another NCAA championship in the 4x1, because why shouldn't he? At the number 8 spot is Drouin of Indiana, and that is a very big deal, because he scored all of his points in one legitimate event, the high jump. I shouldn't even have to say that he dominated the Big Ten and won 5 NCAA championships in the high jump between indoors and outdoors. And even when he didn't win, he was competing for medals when he was out there. He was a national championship threat as a freshman and never let up, which is why he accomplished more in one event than most athletes could ever dream of. Ranked 7th is Jarrion Lawson, who capped off his NCAA career by scoring more points in a single NCAA championship meet than anyone else has done on this list. He won the 100, 200, and long jump in the same NCAA outdoor meet, but he was a threat in the long jump long before his senior year. He didn't win everything in the SEC conference, not even during his miracle campaign as a senior. But it really doesn't matter, because nobody has been that dominant in one championship meet in this entire generation. Sliding in at number 6 is a name that nobody should be able to forget, because Ashton Eaton of Oregon was so good in college that he didn't just break collegiate records, he broke a world record while he was still there. He broke the heptathlon record indoors at the NCAA championships, and later went on to become a world record holder in the decathlon as a pro. He was so good as a jumper and a sprinter that Oregon would line him up in the Pac-12 championships in those events because he could score way more points that way. During his sophomore year outdoors, he won his first NCAA title, and he never looked back after that, winning indoors and outdoors for the remainder of his career. Now it is time for the top 5, where things are about to get very interesting, because all of these athletes made it very clear that they are the best of the best. And Marquis Dendy comes in at number 5 as a dominant long jumper for the Florida Gators and a dominant triple jumper. He led them to NCAA championships and swept the long and triple jump, both indoors and outdoors as a senior at the NCAAs. Of course, he won the SEC championships in both as well. It was a fitting end to a career where, as a freshman, he made it known that he was one of the most talented jumpers we had ever seen, and perhaps the most dominant horizontal jumper we ever will. But number 4 represents for the distance runners, the only distance athlete to make it on this list. Galen Rupp led the Ducks to national prominence. And remember, we are not counting anything that he did in cross country, because this list is about track and field. He threatened at the NCAAs as a freshman and broke 2 collegiate records before he was done. And excluding his cross country national championship as a senior, he won 5 gold medals, both indoors and outdoors. Only one of them was a relay, and that's for the DMR. Sliding in at number 3, and let me be clear, it was close, is Christian Coleman of Tennessee. As an athlete who only competed for 3 collegiate seasons, Christian was that man. As a sophomore and a junior, he basically owned the NCAAs and went on to sweep the 60, the 100, and the 200, indoors and outdoors as a junior. He turned pro immediately thereafter, and you can't really blame him, because if you win everything there is to win in your season and break a collegiate record in the 100-meter dash when you do it, it might be time to challenge yourself just a little bit more. And beating him out for the number 2 spot is another jumper, JuhVaughn Harrison of LSU. As a high jumper and a long jumper, he has a crazy combination of talent that almost nobody has ever duplicated. And he didn't get to compete at any NCAA championships in the year 2020. And we all know why. He dominated as a sophomore and swept everything, the long jump and high jump, indoors and outdoors, during his final season. I'm going to have to assume that after dominating the SECs indoors in 2020, he would have gone on to do something special at the NCAA level. But it doesn't matter, because he's already going down as one of the greatest to ever do it. But the top name on this list, the greatest collegiate track athlete of this entire generation, needs no introduction. Because Grant Holloway of the Florida Gators is the best collegiate track athlete that we've ever seen in college in this generation. And let me tell you, it is not even close. He competed for only 3 seasons, and on my scoring system, he had 93 points. To clarify, nobody else on this list scored more than 70. There's no debate to be had, because he never lost a hurdle championship, indoors or outdoors, and he was always there since his time as a freshman. He broke 2 collegiate records and won an indoor 60-meter dash championship just because he could, and still dominated the long jump while he was at it. His talent across all of those events is only surprising because he's basically the new and improved version of Ashton Eaton. But he never even bothered to try a decathlon and just won all the events straight up. You can argue about it if you want to, but nobody wants to see Grant Holloway on the track in a sprinting race, a jumping event, and definitely not in a hurdle race. So as far as I'm concerned, he is the GOAT from here on out. To become the greatest at anything, you have to be the best and beat the best. The 10 men who made this list have done exactly that, time and time again. And although we can't truly compare them to all the athletes across the generations, any of them can line up with just about anyone in collegiate history. And when the lights are on, they'll be ready to perform. I'm Coach Rupp, and thank you so much for watching this video. And if you want to see more content like this, then please like and subscribe.